So one of the most common questions I see on the Facebook groups are, what are the computer requirements for GSPro, or will this laptop run GSPro, will this computer run GSPro, those types of questions. So let's go to the GSPro website and see what the actual requirements are. So on the website, we're going to go under FAQ. It's the second one down. So basically, I wouldn't look at the minimum hardware to play. I'd look more at the recommended. So for the recommended, it's saying an RTX 3060 Ti GPU. And if you're wanting 4K, then you'll want an RTX 3080 or better GPU. Now you might be wondering, well, what is a 3060 Ti? So we're going to go to a website. We're going to search for GPU hierarchy. There's a website called Tom's Hardware. They have a kind of hierarchy of the various graphics cards. So if we scroll down a bit, there's this chart that has some different options. There's 1080p medium, 1080p ultra, so that's kind of the one we'll look at in a second. They also have 1440p ultra and then 4K ultra. So again, this is one you'd want to look at if you were planning to go 4K with your golf simulator. So if we take a closer look at this chart for the 1080p ultra, the 3060 Ti is right here, and if we kind of go over to the frames per second on the side there, it's around 90 frames per second. So equivalent cards would be RX 7600 XT, and pretty comparable is the RTX 4060, which would be the current generation. And then if you go to the right, these are getting into the older cards, so comparable to like an RTX 2080 or RTX 2080 Super. The minimum requirements that I brushed over earlier was GTX 1070, which is down here, which would kind of equate to around 45 frames per second. But again, I don't want to look at the minimum. I want to look at recommended. And with future changes with the tools and everything to make courses, this will probably go up. So I'd recommend that, go with at least the 3060 Ti, if not a little better. Now, if you're looking at 4K, the RTX 3080 is sitting right here. So right around the 50 or 60 frames per second mark. So equivalent card would be an RX 7800 XT, or slightly better would be an RTX 4070 Super. This is the card that I went with in my desktop computer. I'm running 1080p at the moment, but hopefully this card will allow me the option to go 4K in the future if I want to. So what about laptop cards? So laptop cards are actually less powerful than the desktops, but there's a site we can kind of compare cards. It's gpu.userbenchmark.com. So if we were to compare, say, the 4070 desktop version versus the 4070 laptop version, you can see the desktop is 44% faster than the laptop version. That's not going to be the same for everything. So if we look at the 4060, the desktop versus the 4060 in the laptop, that one there's only an 8% difference. But again, the laptops are usually less powerful than the desktop equivalent, or model number, if you will. So I used to use a laptop for GSPro, and I had a 2070 in there. So there's the 2070 mobile. If you were to compare that with even the minimum, so the 1070, so it was slightly better than the minimum requirements by 11%. But if you were to look at the 3060 Ti, which is the recommended one, that one's 45% better than my older my laptop. So, but if we look at the one I'm right now, the 4070 Super, it's 143% better, so quite a bit better. So I'm really liking that uh, graphics card so far. So hopefully that'll help with making your graphics card decision a little easier and give you some resources that'll help you out with that. Thanks for watching, everyone.